So I'm very fortunate to have a special program today. I'm here with Eli Cohen, the CEO of Pitchon-Lev. It's an organization here in Israel that we are all very familiar with, for those of us who live on the grounds, but our viewers abroad may not be. So welcome, Eli, and can you please give us the elevator pitch for the benefit of our viewers? Tell us what your organization does.
Okay, so first of all, it's very nice to be here, and if I'm going to do the elevator pitch of Pitchon-Lev, it's going to be that we are a humanitarian organization born in 1998. Our vision is to break the cycle of poverty, meaning to take people that live in poverty and after a little while leave them that in a place that they don't need help, neither from Pitchon-Lev or anyone else. This is our goal. We're doing that by working in a few dimensions. First of all, the media direction. That means handing out food baskets and anything a family needs on a weekly basis. Other than that, we use rights utilization, and we have a program which called Program Le'ativ, which making sure that those people will not live in poverty. One of every 4 families in this program will not be in poverty within 12 months, which is something we are very proud of. Other than that, we have an educational program, both Program 7, which is for the Jewish community, and we do it for 7 years, 3 years in high school, 3 years in the army, and 1 year after that. At the end goal to put those youth at risk either in a suitable workplace or academic studies. And we have also a program which called Program Hamsa, which is 5 years, obviously without the army, doing the same thing, but it is for Arab community here in Israel. The last thing that we do is for the strategic term, as we call it. We're trying to make sure that breaking the cycle of poverty will be a job of the Israeli government, neither the civilians or any other humanitarian organization.
Even before the war, as you just described, Pitchon-Lev was really working in collaboration with the government, and you were working to establish an authority to address the needs of the 1.8 million people. That's 1.8 million people living below the poverty line in the state of Israel. Now, since then, you've had increased efforts, obviously, and you've established a logistics center for receiving donations of aid for security forces and evacuees. I want to talk about that pretty soon, but I do want to focus on this number for a minute. There are only 10 million people in the entire country. So why are so many people living below the poverty line? And what does this assistance look like in normal times?
I think in a way I addressed that in my previous answer when I said that we are trying to make the responsibility to take care of the needy families in Israel back to the government, because what happens is that there's a pretty big population, 1.8, as you said. We just can't keep up with the progress, can't keep up with the really swift changing of the way of living here in Israel, because there is not anyone that coordinates everything and making sure everything will work according to the changes going through the Israeli society. Because when you take high-tech, for instance, high-tech is great in Israel for a large part of the population, but think of those who are not in high-tech and don't have the needed tools in order to get into high-tech industry whenever they are left behind. And unfortunately, there's no one that makes sure that these growing gaps between population in Israel will become each time a little smaller. So that's what I think is the main problem.
You've talked about breaking the cycle of poverty, and the language that you've used a lot on your website and in other discussions is actually about breaking the intergenerational cycle of poverty. I'm wondering what that really means. Like, what is the difference between breaking the cycle of poverty for an individual and breaking the intergenerational cycle of poverty?
I think when you do something like we do here in Pitchon-Lev, you mainly focuses your efforts and nerves on the people, on the people you meet, and not on data, okay, or information or numbers. But there's a number which is something that you just can't accept. It's one of the worst numbers I've ever heard in my life. It's saying that a baby is being born in Israel, 2023. You can tell and be 78% right that if he was born to a poor family, he will die as a poor man. 78% that will not change. Okay, and that is something which emphasize a very sad and in a way it tells a lot of the story about the intergenerational cycle of poverty, because it says that if you were born to the wrong family, you almost can't do too much in order to make your future better. And that is what we're trying to correct. This is why the efforts of Pitchon-Lev are holistics and take care in both the children, but also the family. And what we get is not a state that the children goes up and the family goes down and it pulls everyone down, but take the children and the family all up together at once, which allows us to get to the, for me, amazing stat that saying that 1 out of 4 families will not be in poverty within 1 year.
Oh, it's an incredible number. It's
Yeah.
really successful. So I want to talk about this logistics center that you started. What kind of aid are you receiving for the security forces and the evacuees? And also, how are you distributing it?
Wow. Okay, so being that Pitchon-Lev is one of the largest humanitarian organizations in Israel for a lot of years, we know that every time that there's a misfortunate event, such as the pandemic or other military events, we know that the government is a big ship to turn. It takes a lot of time to move and change. And that is why we at Pitchon-Lev are usual to be the first one to assist, because we are agile, we can do whatever we need in a very short period of time. And in that way, this war started on October 7th. On October 8th, there were our trucks in the field distributing help. And also something that is happening in this war is that the needs are changing really quick, because like 2 or 3 weeks ago, the thing that everyone needed was a ceramic vest, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But if you look now, no one needs it anymore, and it's just an example for a lot of cases that was just like that. So to answer your question, we are setting up this warehouse, this big center, and it almost weekly changes what's inside. Of course, food will always be there. It's a major part of what we do. But we also have hygienic products and cleaning tools and things to put in kindergartens and schools. But I don't want to talk about the 10,000s of tons of equipment that we have already sent to the field. For me, in my position, I think the most touching are the things that are just one of each. They tell the story, and one of the stories that I cannot forget is when I got a call, and they asked me for a cart, like a vehicle cart. You know, it's the elderly goes with it on the kibbutz.
Right.
Yeah, like a golf cart or some sort. And I said, look, listen, we are a humanitarian organization. We don't practice those things. And they immediately me, wait, don't say no. I said, okay, we need it for an 86-year-old Holocaust survivor, which came from Kfar Aza, and all of her daughters and sons and all of her grandsons were murdered on October 7th. And not only that, but those damn terrorists, they also lighted her cart, her golf cart, and she cannot move too much. And of course, we fulfilled that in a few hours. But for me, each time the specific request, the one that stands out, that's the most important one, because the things that we know to do, and there's a lot of things that we know to do in very big quantities, we already know how to do them. But when you get a specific request, you know that not only you will not be able to do it in a short while of time, but not many others in general. So that is really moving.
Yeah, wow. A lot of nonprofits say that they're great, that they're doing excellent work. Obviously, we're talking about all the things you do, and the organization sounds great. But the truth of the matter is that Pitchon-Lev is actually great because it has a stamp of approval, not just from Eli Cohen, but actually from the Israeli Knesset.
Yeah.
And, since the Knesset can't raise funds on its own, it has directed potential donors interested in supporting the war efforts to Pitchon-Lev, and that they should contribute to you. Tell me how this happened. Tell me about what this means.
Okay, that is something that was quite amazing. I think it is probably, I don't know, one of the matters that were able to get around the most number of parliament members in Israel since, I don't know, 48, I'm guessing, or something, because 88 parliament members of Israel, as you know, parliament members in Israel cannot collect donations. And they wanted to do part of the effort to help whichever needs help. And they reached out for us and asked if we'd be willing to help. We said, obviously, of course. And then they got to the legal counselor of the Knesset. They asked for a specific approval, and then got approved to send donation to Pitchon-Lev after we've been through a lot of bureaucracy. And throughout the first and a half months of the war, those parliament members, they collected not only donations but also a lot of requests that they have reached, and they would send the money to Pitchon-Lev. We arrange whatever needed and send it, of course, to the field. So this is, for me, the most exciting part of that is that we can see even in the Knesset, in the Israeli parliament, the togetherness, which is so important in this days, because 88 members of the Knesset, it's like from that side to that side and whatever in between, which is very, very unusual. Unfortunately, it is too unusual here in Israel.
So, Eli, this has been so interesting, and I think very important for our viewers, because again, there's a war going on in Israel. People want to give money, they want to help, they want to contribute in some way when they're studying abroad. I know my own parents are abroad and are constantly asking me, this organization, that organization, where should I give and how can I help? And so I think knowing about Pitchon-Lev, something that is very dear to the hearts of Israelis, is very important for the community abroad. Is there anything else that you want to add, perhaps a final message you want to deliver to any of our viewers?
Yes, of course. Other than the basic thank you and all of that, I think two things are very important to say. When Israelis woke up on October 7, I think once we've passed over the stunning of the mother, is the feeling that we are alone. Nobody support and is with us, and I think that in every time an Israeli gets any help from anywhere there was, of course, from the Jewish community worldwide, I think it sends a strong message of togetherness, which is very, very important. And I want to tell you a little story about that. We started getting boxes of equipment from the community in Boston, from the IAC in Boston. They send lots of thousands of boxes with supplies. And that is very touching and moving. And if you come to our center right now, there's a corner of the center. It's called Pinat Boston Corner. And that is because over there we store those boxes. And what they did, which is very touching, as in they took each and every box, and I'm talking about thousands of boxes, and in each of them they wrote in hand, "From Boston with love."
Oh, it's lovely.
And everybody that gets into our center, he sees that, and the amount of tears we like have handkerchiefs there for a regular basis, because I think that is the most important. So I think whoever can come and say and visit or send support, it's not only the donations on the money or everything like that, it's the bringing back hope in humanity in a way.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for being with us. Eli Cohen, CEO of Pitchon-Lev. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.